Hi everyone, Charles here for MLU Papers. In my second year of PhD, I started working on a completely new topic. I felt really excited about it until I realized that I had made very marginal progress after a few months. And that is because of one thing, more toxic than pineapple pizza, can you believe? Procrastination. More precisely, 7 things that kept me from working efficiently. So today, I am going to share with you that list of the worst 7 habits that made me procrastinate. Now, you might be wondering, what for? And here comes the second part of the story. After an inefficient month, okay, maybe 2, 3, I started to write down all the bad, unproductive habits that I had. I became aware of them, and anytime I would start one of them again, I would immediately stop, because I knew that it would lead to procrastination. As a disclaimer, if you procrastinate, there might be deeper root causes that you might not have identified, like depression or other health issues. So if you have any doubt, consulting with a health professionals might be a good idea. Now before we start, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell icon. That's completely free for you, and that really helps the channel. Thank you so much. Let's jump in. Overexcitement. I read one phenomenal research paper on a new topic, which I liked a lot. And then I went research paper hunting, going through all the major conference proceedings and journals of the past 1,000 years, and I saved on my computer every related paper that I could find. I remember there was over 100 papers, 150 to be exact, and I read every single one of them. No, I saved them on my computer. I stared at the list of 150 papers. With an average of 30 pages each, that makes a grand total of 4,500 pages. That's about as much as a whole series of Harry Potter and The Lord of the Rings together, but filled with math formulas and proofs. So instead, I just went through all the titles. Once, then a second time, then a third time, burning the amount of time it would have taken me to read one whole paper. Just like my cousin who every evening goes to the gym, walks around 3 or 4 times to look at all the machines, he knows them well now, before eventually realizing that there's only 5 minutes left before the last order at the pizzeria. It's okay, running to the margarita will do for tonight's exercise. It was a good try. A clean working environment. I started my PhD during COVID, that strange time period when you would have trouble entering a bank without a mask and when toilet paper would sell on the second-ass market. We were all working from home, and I remember that before getting started, I wanted to have a clean working environment. So I would clean my desk, which per se is not a bad habit. And then my floor. Who knows what would happen if my pencil fell down? And then my bathroom, because, well, it's a mechanical pencil. Who knows how far it can go? Now, a clean working environment is essential, and I really mean that. But when you spend more time cleaning your desk than using it, it feels like the desk is using you. The long break. I am a big proponent of taking regular short breaks in order to increase productivity, and I still do it. But sometimes you just get caught in your break, which, to be honest, is not the most unpleasant feeling in the world, and that's precisely the problem. Your 10-minute break easily becomes 15, then 30, and you're soon to realize that it passes the 1-hour mark. Not bad for an hourly break, it is about time to start the next one. Now, fortunately, some of our problems have easy and effective solutions, as is a beanie to a disappointing haircut. Well, in the case of a longish break, you can just set a timer, but that takes us to the next point. The round hour problem. You are timing a 10-minute break outside, glazing at a cute gang of sparrows, and next thing you know, the 11th minute of the break has already started. You could just rudely leave the chirping conversation, but why not make the break 15 minutes long? That would be exactly a quarter of an hour, and it probably makes more sense than 10 minutes, which, after all, undemocratically self-imposed rather than 9 or 12. Lost in the huge learning spiral. One thing I like about research is that I learn new things every day. One thing I hate about research is that I learn new things every day. Let me explain what I just said. I am a very curious person. I like learning new things, probably too much. And for every result that I read, I usually ask myself a lot of questions. Can we generalize the result? Can we remove this or that assumption? Can we prove that theorem differently? What if we use a different method? Can the performance of the algorithm be improved? And usually those questions are not trivial and have deep connections to other fields. So I start exploring other fields, which take me to other fields, and so on and so forth. Like an explorer who wanted to discover Kenya and ends up in a pyramid somewhere in Egypt. But after all, that same explorer ended up in Turkey during their last trip to Egypt, so why not catch up this time? Tackling a whole big task. Now, believe it or not, I sometimes actually start working on my research, actual mathematical proofs, and computer experiments. Say that the goal is to prove a big, chunky theorem. I try to understand what it means and to directly analyze it. So far, so good. Then I realized that I should break it down into small pieces and deep dive into the analysis of each of them. But what if I didn't break it down properly? What if the small pieces are not small enough? So I look at the big problem and try to solve it all at once. You guessed it, to no avail. Because sometimes it just pays to work slowly, yet consistently. Avoiding the difficult part. Then I learned the lesson and broke down the big task into smaller pieces and tackled them one by one. And in order to get the job done, I start with the easier ones, boosting my motivation and being useful simultaneously. Now, what could go wrong? Well, nothing. But if you ask me what went right, I probably wouldn't tell you about the more difficult pieces of a puzzle. Because after I solved the easier ones, I figured out how to improve and clarify my results, which per se is not wrong, up to the point where it keeps me from moving on to the rest of the analysis. In my case, I guess it was probably a lack of confidence, which made me unconsciously avoid the real issue. And in that case, simply getting to it and solving it was the best remedy for me. And that's probably the most important message that I have for you in this video. Oftentimes, procrastination is not a deep issue, it is the high-level sign that something is going wrong underneath the surface. In my case, it was a lack of confidence. For some of my friends, it is a lack of purpose. And while solving the problem requires to solve its root cause, in my case, one of the preliminary steps was to cure the consequence. By eliminating all those nasty habits from my life and setting timers to limit my inefficient times, I increased my productivity. That was a first step toward gaining more confidence in my capabilities and finally earning more self-confidence. Now we're all different and there is no one-fit-all solution to everyone's problems. But doing that worked for me, for the friends that I recommended it to, and it may also work for you. Now, how about you? Is there any unhealthy habit that keeps you from being productive? Please let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to read from you. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe and hit the bell icon. I would really appreciate that. Also, don't forget to check out my other videos for more or less technical content. Thanks again so much for watching. I wish you a wonderful week and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.